Hey, sorry about that. Yeah, Twitch went down for a split second. That was an issue. Hopefully, welcome back, everybody. I'm sorry if there's an issue with that. Seriously, I don't know why we got bounced off there, but when I hold on, we'll go back here, and I'll go. I get attacked by the deep state every single time. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what YouTube was doing, but we're back, so it's okay. All right. Hit that like, everybody, because I know it kicked off all my likes, because that's what it does. So refresh your page, and we should be live again. Apologies about that. No idea. Everybody, yeah, refresh. Thank you. Okay. Fresh. That's the thing about my show. Refreshing. And then let's see if people start showing up in the chat. Let us know you're there. If you're in the chat. Oh, there's X. Look at that. And there's excellent. And there you go. Yay. Yeah, refresh yourself. It is refreshing. I agree. I checked the title, but I rebuilt it, but why does it not allow me to do that? Okay. Hold on. I'm going to do it again. I tried to do it. No one is checked. Hold on. The two commandments. Updated it in theory. Hopefully it does it. We'll see. But a ding. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so hopefully the title's good, and then we're back. All right, now where were we? We were with the last time we were with Greg Kelly. He was a miserable bastard. By the way, we can move on from this point and just start from scratch. Anyways, hi chat room. Hit that like again if you would, because I got kicked off the stream for some particular reason. Obviously, it's the deep state. They're afraid of my message, and they don't want me. Oh, new Trier people in the house. What's going on? Obviously this is a situation where I'm, the deep state is trying to control me and not allowing us to, they're trying to kill independent media, and it's so, because they fear me, and they're trying to shut me down, infotainmentwars.com, because I am the deep state, and I am the establishment, and there can be only one. Yep. So hit the like if you would. Right out of the gate, let people know where we are, because sometimes I have to go to it's another stream and people get confused, and I respect that. I understand that. Okay, now, where are we? The next one up, let's do two quickies. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can, Donald Trump has forsaken giving his weird little standing in Mar-a-Lago videos to just doing them from his fucking plane now. And I guess he's talking about in this video he posted, he's detailing his debate goals about how he's going to handle Joe Biden. And everybody wants to know, here it goes. Oh, it was a Russian attack. Thank you, Luis. Thank you for having my back. All right, here we go.
We're going to Cleveland, Ohio today. We're leading in Ohio by a lot. The highest number.
No, you're not. Also, for the fucking record, there is a plug-in in all of the major editing softwares that you can have. The fucking Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, what's the one that Black Magic has that everybody uses? It's free, whatever. All of them have vocal isolation algorithms in them that you can use. They'll isolate the voice, and instead of just hearing this, like, it's all fucking engine. What kind of cheap? You're allegedly a billionaire. This should be. Like, you shouldn't have the same struggles I fucking have.
I've ever had, and I just
listen to that shit. What the fuck kind of crap?
Cleveland, Ohio today. We're leading in Ohio by a lot, the highest numbers I've ever had, and I was just informed that, generally speaking, they're the highest numbers I've ever had. The poll numbers are
generally speaking. No, they're not.
Better now than they've ever been.
No, they're not. They're in the margin of error, and it's getting very concerning because it might cost J.D. Vance's fucking seat.
2016 or in 2020, and the fundraising numbers are likewise better. People have tremendous spirit. We have the worst president in the history of our country, and we have to get him out. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. We'll end up in World War III. The whole thing is going to blow up.
Yeah, that's right. If Donald Trump, the peacemaker, I mean, Could he sound more like the idiot's version of the Antichrist if he tried?
And we have to get them out. We have no choice. So I look forward to seeing the people of Ohio, and I look forward to seeing everyone else. We're going to be making lots of tours, lots of stops, lots of rallies. We're
going to be making lots of tours, lots of stops,
lots of meetings, and we're going to do a real job. We have to get this man out of office. He's dangerous, and he is truly a threat to democracy. You won't have democracy. You won't have.
By the way, is it some turbulent airspace wherever the fuck he is? That plane is shaking left to right.
A country, you won't have anything. You'll end up in World War III.
Did he mention us being in World War III? By the way, aren't we already on the brink of the precipice in the middle, and we're already in World War III? If you think about it.
So we have to get him out. I look forward to the debate on Thursday night, and we have to show that the man is grossly incompetent.
Who's we, motherfucker? It's just you.
Know what he's doing. He's going to have to explain why he's allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country from prison.
He hasn't, actually. But you guys are refusing, Republicans specifically by your guidance, are refusing to give the president the actual people he would need to carry out a tougher border policy. It has to be, the president can call for whatever he wants, but you have to fund it. You have to have the people to do it. You have to actually be capable of doing it. And that requires Congress, which they're not going to move on. And they know this. That's why they're not doing it.
Prisons from mental institutions.
See, what they want to do is that they want him to do an executive order and nothing to change. The problem is it already is.
Terrorists coming into our country. He's going to have to explain that. I don't think that's explainable. So,
sure it is. It goes like this. Title 42 allowed for recidivism to get out of whack. So we had the same person crossing 5 times, and the Republicans want to count that one person 5 times. That's why they think the number's 20 million, because they think one person who walks back and forth 5 times is 5 people. The other reason, of course, is that we wanted to tighten the border, and they refused to give us the funding to do it. They stopped, the Republicans in the House stopped us from being able to fund a tighter border. That's it. There it is, done.
We'll see everybody on Thursday night. We're going.
That's it. That's the and there's another one, and they decided to get a tighter camera angle because the other one wasn't nunty enough. And also, I apologize. I think probably should have put this up. Yeah, in the warning or whatever. It's the lighting's a little better in these kind of things, and that's why they're shooting down at him like he's an aging Instagram model. But just in case, I feel like you have to. You've been warned.
I know that RFK Jr. wants to try and get onto the stage on Thursday, and I'd love to have him, frankly.
Okay, I know that RFK would like to get onto the stage. I'd love to have him, frankly, which is I'm not quite familiar with that position, but it sounds a little rough and tumble for this guy.
On Thursday, and
hold on.
I'd love to have him, frankly, because I don't think he's much of a debater, and he's got.
I'd love to have him there because he'd be an easy win. And yes, I will cover the debates live.
It's a very liberal, radical left ideas, but I would love to have him, but you have to get certain numbers. That was the criteria, and he's.
Right. So it's not Biden that's keeping him out. It's that he doesn't qualify for the debates because he's not on the ballot in every state. So he cannot win. And anybody who's voting for him is either a disgruntled Trump voter, or if they're on our side of the aisle, they basically are saying they're a one-issue voter, and their one issue is making sure that women can go fuck themselves. That's the...
Way below those numbers. He's not coming close.
Right. So obviously Biden's not trying to keep him out. He's not being cheated to that position. But you would like him there because you think you can talk over him because of his vocal problems? Is that it?
So I hope to see him up there someday, but it looks to me like he's not going to qualify on many fronts. But he'll be there, and, you know, they say...
What? No, he won't.
He hurts Biden more than...
No, they don't.
He hurts me. I don't know if that's true or not, but...
It's not.
He hurts Biden because he's a serious left person.
He's a serious left person. I mean, most of us would stop at this point and reshoot it and go, what the fuck am I talking about? What the hell is serious left person? It's not like this is live. people talk, they misspeak all the time when they're live, and it's totally fine, and we understand that. But if you're posting a video that I guess is a campaign video, maybe, I don't know, go over it again.
And you know what? If he is, that's good. I don't really care. I'm going to Cleveland. It looks like we're doing great in Ohio. We're doing great in just about every state.
What? Wait, back up.
But they say he hurts Biden because he's a serious left person. And you know what? If he is, that's good. I don't really care. I'm going to Cleveland. It looks like we're doing great in Ohio. We're doing great in just about every state we're in. Every poll number that's coming in is looking good. We're leading just about every poll on a national basis.
Boy, it's a bumpy fucking ride.
Also on a swing state basis.
I wish somebody would like just fuck with him. Somebody could like hack into the intercom system in it and go, "Thank you for flying Prigozhin Airlines. You'll find that below your seat is an anchor. It does not serve as a flotation device, but it is locked to your ankle with a." I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you.
And I look forward to Thursday night. It'll be great. And again, I saw RFK Jr. Nice guy. I hope he can debate because I really think it would be a good thing to have him up there. I'd love to have him up there, but you have to do better than 6 or 7 points.
Then what the fuck are you talking about?
Like by about triple.
Like by about triple.
And maybe someday he'll be there, but I sort of doubt it. Thank you.
The fuck is that? Maybe he'll be there one day, but I sort of doubt it. Thank you. I imagine being on an airplane and going, we need to put out some campaign messages. We need to put out some stuff so that our people are thirsty for information. They've been waiting for me to comment on some of these things, and I got to get on record with this. It's too important. And then you just fart out that nonsense, and they go, "That is fine. That qualifies. That is." Think about the era we're in with ChatGPT and generative AI and imaging and all this stuff, and in huge teams of campaign staff and people who could dissect your every word and focus group them through all kinds of shit. The availability of the variety of like media that's possible these days, and this asshole is just filming like loud engine noise while he blathers. And he's like, you know what? My people just need to hear me talk because it's a cult. It's not a movement. They need to just even if I make sense, they'll make up their own mind what the fuck I'm talking about. So if I fuck up, who cares? They'll think it's code, right? If he just talks out of his ass, his followers will go, what he really meant was, Good Lord. Now, let me show you something real quick. And this is long, so there's no way I'll be able to, we'll have to do a needle drop in this situation. But you might have seen clips of this going around. This is, and hi chat room, by the way, hit that like if you would. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks Pokey. Thank you Berkeley Dowd. Have a great sexy liberal show in Denver. Thank you. I intend to. Janoon, thank you so much. Will you cover the debates live? Yes, I will. Okay, I saw that. And then it was a Russian attack, that took me off the air. Thank you, Luis. Just making sure I get everybody. So he was on this All In show, All In podcast in conversation with David Trump, and this is with President Trump, and it's this David Sachs podcast or whatever, and they give interviews, whatever, but he's sitting there. Here, I'll show you.
My name's Donald Trump, and I'm the largest real estate developer in New York.
Yes, you're 227 pounds of absolute butter.
I own buildings all over the place.
All over the place. I don't even know where they are because my father bought them or built them.
Brain. I used my negotiating skills, and I worked it all out. Now my company's bigger.
I worked it all out. Oh my God.
Than it ever was. It's stronger than it ever was, and I'm having more fun than I ever had.
None of that is true. No one even believed that in 2004. Okay, and this is, hold on, this is the wrong video. One second. Let me scoot back on here.
They hate to see it. They're not allowed to they're told not to do it.
Okay, let me show you, this is just an example. This is a question asked by this dude. Okay, I don't know who these guys are. I know David Sachs was the guy who asked the first question. But they all go through and they ask these questions. And they're all, let me tell you something. These guys actually know what they're talking about. They may be assholes, but they know their business, right? They're all legit rich dudes who've created companies, and they may be fucking awful, but they did it through a combination of all the things that Trump says he has: business acumen, and understanding of the market and the industry that he's in, all that stuff. And these guys all know if you fucking cornered them and they'd haven't had enough gin fizzes, every last one of them would go, yeah, he's a fucking idiot. There's no way he's smarter than I am. I should be president. If he's going to be president, Jesus Christ, right? That's how they would talk about him, even David Sachs. So fuck off with this stuff. But what they want is him to kill regulations. Now listen to this. This guy asks a question about, I'll show you. He just asks about, they're talking about crime in cities because he turned this whole conversation, he basically dovetails every question into one of his talking points because he's fucking blathering. But check this out.
And that's where we had the great economy, and that's where we had the most jobs ever produced.
So there's this odd thing that happens in certain
1 second, let me raise this up a little bit.
states where taxes keep going up, and then you start to see the states break, right? Productivity breaks, crime goes up, and quality of life goes down. But then people don't understand that taxation and all of those things are correlated.
So this guy's making the case that high tax states eventually break, and then they all go downhill because nobody wants to work anymore, because lazy, good-for-nothing welfare recipients can just be on the dole instead of working hard. Which, by the way, California has had the policies it has as far as welfare support and unemployment support and that kind of shit. They're all leading questions, by the way. Somebody in the chat room just said leading question. They're all leading. They're all trying to set him up to say absolutely so they can use a snippet of it, their question, a snippet of him going, that's so true, and then just that's enough, right? What he says afterwards is just like, dear God, will he shut the fuck up? But this guy makes the case that, California's had these policies this whole time, but he's making the case that something broke California. Now, it was at one time the 8th biggest economy in the world. It's now the 6th. And all of these assholes are all in on this building this super rich city in California because the air is cleaner, the water's cleaner, everything's safer because you've got, government regulations that protect human life in that state versus this Texas shit grid where you're on your fucking own, right?
Do you have an idea of why that is? Like, why don't people...
Okay, for the record, it isn't. It is not like that. The reason there's more crime in big cities is because there's more everything. There's more coffee, there's more sex, there's more movie theaters, there's more fucking tall buildings, there's more of everything where there's more people and there's more business. You have more business, there's going to be more people are going to move there, and you're also going to have more crime with it because of the volume of people. It's not a per capita problem because we see in places like Bakersfield, which is McCarthy's district, or in places like Louisiana, they have very low industry, very low business focus, and very impoverished and ignorant people, and you end up with more crime.
Understand universally that lower taxation is better for productivity?
Well, they don't understand it, and it's such an interesting question because
he doesn't know what the fuck that guy's talking about. It's such an interesting question. Okay, it wasn't a question, it was a statement.
As you look at some of these places like Chicago and New York and LA and so many more, I'd hate to even mention the three because there are worse examples than that. You look at what's happening.
Why would you mention those? If there's worse examples, say them. What you think those are the only high tax areas? And you certainly don't fucking want to bring up Seattle, because you got too much money invested there. All these guys have offices in Seattle, have a lot of money in that area, and the taxes are very high.
Happened in Oakland, and you look at what's happened into.
You think Oakland was killed by high taxes? Really? Really? You think that was the thing that affected Oakland?
Some cities that are disappearing. I mean, they're literally...
No, they're not literally disappearing.
Just crime waves. Nobody lives there except for criminals because...
Right. It's just crime. That's the worst part of the worst kind of crime is the criminal on criminal crime.
You can't live there. You can't survive there. Physically.
Unless you are a criminal, in which case, I don't know why we give a shit. Why do we need cops there?
You can't survive there. And when you look at the kind of crime that we're talking about, and then they take the power away from the police can't do anything. If they do anything,
Okay, then he dovetails into his
to
bullshit.
stop it, they end up losing their pension, their house, their family. They end up losing everything. They get put in jail.
No.
And we're not talking about the rogue cops who do something really bad and should be taken care of badly.
They should be taken care of badly. Oh, yeah? You think you're going to get seconds, Mr. Rogue Cop? Well, I'll have you know, you get one sorbet and that's it.
You know, be nasty. You got to be nasty to them also.
So you are talking about the Derek Chauvins of the world and the like. But you're just talking about random cops seem to have a problem, which they absolutely do not.
But mostly, I mean, these people, they want to really, like 99%, they want to stop crime. They hate to see it. They're not allowed to even, they're told not to do anything.
Okay, first of all, these rich motherfuckers, they know he's nuts. Look at the look on this guy's face. Like, this isn't an answer to that question. He just dovetailing, and Sachs set this shit up. I think that's him, right? And then, I don't know what this guy, I don't know who broke his neck and his fake boardroom background. And this other guy who looks like he's, I don't know if he's in the middle of a deal and doesn't have time to pay attention.
When you see a department store that was so proud they opened up a new store in a certain city, and all of a sudden, this, over the last couple of years has happened, this phenomena where 500 usually young people walk into the store.
Yeah, they're occasionally elderly, klepto gangs, but...
And take everything. They have masks on. They walk out with television sets, air conditioners. They walk out with everything. This is a new phenomena that's taken place, and
television sets and air conditioners.
It's incredible. Look at drugstores. Look at what's going on. Like in New York, you walk into a chain. I've seen it twice. I don't walk into too many drugstores, but I used to love it. I used to love.
Yeah, it used to be. That was one of my favorite things about New York, walking into a drugstore. You know what I mean? Hey, everybody needs a hobby.
To walk around and just look at what it is, whether it's a drugstore or department store. But they told me.
Yeah, who doesn't go just kind of browse? Who the fuck goes to a drugstore and browses? That's amazing. You know, I used to love going to the drugstore and just walking around, looking at the shampoos and going, oh, that's it. I thought it was just pert and nothing else. And look at all these energy drinks. This is fantastic. All those condoms. Look at this big rows of them, and all of them too big. Okay, well, it's,
Just a little while ago, I had a meeting with some people, and they say you walk into a drugstore in New York, and everything's covered up with bars and glass and...
Yeah, bars and glass. Yes, there are bars on all the stuff in drugstores. Bars. Bars. This, first of all, this motherfucker thinks you need ID to buy bread. But secondly, he believes that there are bars on their cases. They're cases, and it's always the stuff that everybody shoplifts the most. Razor blades were the start, but there's some other stuff, and it depends on the area, and it has nothing to do with the average customer, and it has everything to do with like these fucking klepto gangs. And again, even San Francisco's doing shit. They're doing stuff about this, right? But the idea that they're just okay with it, just figure make a store within a store.
If you want just a little thing of aspirin, or if you want to buy a toothbrush, you have to wait a half an hour to get a clerk, and they open up this vault.
No, you don't. Nobody's shoplifting toothbrushes. You do not have to wait for a bottle of aspirin. That's not the stuff that's behind, that's in the cases.
And they give you a toothbrush, or they give you, how do you do business like that? This is a phenomenon. There's never been anything like this. They didn't used to have theft of even the most minor items. They
didn't? Really? What? I'm sorry. What's this word you're using? Theft? I've never heard it before recently. Theft.
Very little theft, relatively speaking. Mm-hmm. They didn't have theft, but the police would arrest them if they did something. Today they don't. They have limits sometimes. If you steal less than $2,000, you don't get arrested. so nobody steals more than $2,000.
No, you get arrested. They just don't do anything directly. They don't jail you in that particular case. They usually, by the way, the reason that most of the people who are around the 2,000 mark who get the big bags of shit, they roll them because it's a ring. It's organized crime. It's not somebody, no individual who comes in by themselves and steals a bunch of shit and runs out. You know, because again, if they're especially if they're stealing like medication and stuff, there's just no fucking way they're carrying out $2,000 worth of shit just for themselves.
It's incredible when you see what's happened to the quality of life in our country, and it's happened so quickly. It's taken place so rapidly. Nobody's ever seen anything. But you look at
Yes, they have. Where the fuck were you in the 90s? Oh, right. You were snorting rails of Adderall with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. That's where you were.
retail, and I know the big deal. It used to be a big deal when a department store moved into a city, or a certain store opened up even in a town. But it's usually the Democrat-run
By Grabthaw's hammer. What a savings.
big cities where this problem is taking place. And I don't say that as a Republican. I just say you look at the 25 cities, the top problems, they're just about all Democrat. They're Democrat-run.
And they're also
Where all the business is.
high tax, high regulation states.
Yeah, he's trying to get him back on that. Like, can you say that it's because of the high taxes? I don't give a fuck about petty crime, you asshole. I'm not invested in CVS. I want my taxes cut, you asshole. I want you to turn the taxes issue into a national security issue or a law and order issue.
No cash bail, all of these different things that have taken place.
What? And he still won't do it. He still doesn't understand where they're trying to farm him towards.
It's a phenomena. It's a phenomena.
It is. It's a phenomena.
What's going on? Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it has to be stopped. It's a horrible quality of life. And on top of that, you can't walk to a store. You end up getting shot or mugged or something. The
Or something.
level of crime in the cities, in these big cities, is out of control. Nobody is.
Jesus Christ. He has definitely entered his Pat Robertson phase. Really, just trying to walk down the street in New York City, that if you're not being shot or stabbed, some, lady of the night is coming up to you, making you an offer you can't refuse.
Ever seen anything like it.
Mr. President, can I just ask on your point about the tax cuts? Larry Summers made a comment the other day, and I thought maybe you could respond to his tweet that the tax cuts coupled with the tariffs that you've proposed would cause a massive, I think he called it the mother of all stagflation, where you would have kind of inflation because.
Oh, this has got to be a good answer. Come on. Like having him, parse. First of all, does he even understand what stagflation is other than stagflation bad? And I want to hear this. The Smoot-Hawley tariffs did enormous damage. Smoot, you hear Smoot, and Smoot's a word.
Of the tariffs, you would have economic decline because more money would start to fund an increase in prices with tax coming down, tax cuts being put in place. Can you maybe just comment on the comment made by Larry Summers and how we implement tax cuts without inflation?
Well,
Yeah, tell us. How do you implement tax cuts without inflation?
let me say that I respect Larry Summers a lot. He's been right about a lot of things, and Obama and Biden have been wrong. Certain things that he said turned out to be true, certain things.
Certain things. So I guess the other stuff, where he was not, he was opposing what Obama and Biden said, and they were right and he was wrong in those instances. But anyways, you were saying?
And I do have a good respect for him. He's a different kind of a guy,
He is a different kind of a guy. I agree.
and he speaks his mind. I happen to be a big believer in tariffs because I think tariffs give you two things. They give you economic gain, but they also give you political gain. If a country is out of control on something having nothing to do with economics or having nothing to do with money coming in or money going out, but other things that are very political, because there are a lot of other things involved in countries.
That is true. There are a lot of other things involved in other countries. Think about it. Chat room, right? Sure. There are a lot of things involved in other countries.
You have tremendous power over a country. Now, not everybody can say that, but we can because we're the big piggy bank.
We are. That's how we look at it. Yeah, we're the big piggy bank.
Our piggy bank is going to get smaller and smaller all the time because we're losing power. We're losing a lot of, countries on the dollar. I mean, they're going like flies. If we ever lose that, that's the equivalent
They're going like flies.
of losing a war. That would be an unbelievable. That would really make us third world. We have lost so many countries. I looked the other day. So Russia's
You looked the other day because Russia's leaving and stuff, and we're supposed to worry about this while the dollar is still worth more than $1, even with them fucking off.
gone. You take a look. Ukraine doesn't sort of exist in a sense. Nobody knows what's going on there. But
What? Hold on. What? Jesus Christ. Back up. I was not expecting this kind of gibberish. There are, what?
countries. I looked the other day. So Russia's gone.
Russia's gone. I mean, he means Russia's not using the dollar anymore. We kicked them off. They didn't leave. We kicked them off. We said you cannot use the dollar or do it in the currency exchanges there, and you can't trade the Russian stock market in U.S. dollars. And we put sanctions on, which is what he thinks tariffs means. Whatever. But I don't know what the Ukraine thing is.
You take a look. Ukraine doesn't sort of exist in a sense. Nobody knows what's going on there. But when you look at China is essentially gone. They're trying to get out of it. They want to.
Hold on. First of all, yeah, even if he's trying to tie this to it, he means that Ukraine isn't going to use the U.S. dollar. We have more business ties with Ukraine than we have ever had. And that's going to grow because we're the one person that's always got their back, even with the Marjorie Taylor Greens and those assholes stopping it. This is fucking stupid.
They're our primary competitor. Iran is not there. The other day,
Wait a minute. You're worried that Iran's not trading in dollars? Iran is not there. Dude, you're not all there.
I read where Saudi Arabia is willing to now go in various different currencies instead of the dollar. This is a tragedy. This is a big thing that's happening against our country. And
no, it isn't. And by the way, look at all these assholes. Look at how depressed they are. These guys are, and they've got another hour and 10 minutes listening to this dumb motherfucker. And I mean, you guys, this is four people who have painted themselves into an intellectual corner and cannot get out. Look at that. They're like, this motherfucker. Every one of them is like, you know how much money I'm worth an hour? Like, they talk about this. These guys give business talks about how they're worth more an hour than most employees have their whole year, of productivity. My 1 hour is worth more than all that. And they'll talk about that shit at like these business roundtables and in their books and that kind of stuff. And these motherfuckers are sitting here. I'm wasting my time listening to this dickhead blather on about fucking nonsense. Look at them. Seriously. And this guy has already pledged millions of dollars to help Trump get elected. Just look, it's all buyer's remorse.
we cannot let that happen.
We can't stop it from happening, dumbass, and we don't want it to, because all they do is traffic in guns and drugs and other people.
Tariffs, it gives you a tremendous power. As an example,
By the way, he means sanctions, not tariffs. You don't put tariffs on to do that. You sanction them. You can use tariffs for, I guess, for some leverage, but that's when, like all the shit that people talk about how, if we use sanctions, we're weaponizing the dollar. That's what the tariff part would do. Sanctions are, we're just not doing business with you because you're a fucking criminal enterprise. Tariffs are fucking with the quality of our exchange on purpose for political reason.
not to let that happen. You say, you want to do that? We're going to put tariffs on your product coming into the United States. But more importantly, and that's a big importance.
Also, by the way, these guys fucking hate this answer. This is terrible for business. Are you telling me you might put, if I have an investment in a company and I'm doing import-export stuff, or I've got investors working with me in other countries, or I'm part of a multinational, or I have stock in a big multinational, and you're telling me you might just decide apropos of fucking nothing because you have a political problem with that country that you're going to tariff my business that is not doing anything fucking wrong because of your political difference with the leadership of that country? Like, sanctions take some earning. Like, you got to have almost like a worldwide consensus to kick Russia off SWIFT and do that kind of stuff. This dumb motherfucker is saying, you know those investments you guys have in a bunch of different things? I might just fuck with those things just because I don't like how they're treating me.
But probably of more importance is they tax us, we tax them. Reciprocal trade. I think we should have a reciprocal trade act. If China's going to charge us $100 tariff or 100% tariff on a car,
or $100,
then we should say you're going to pay 100% to us. You know,
dude, they're not charging 100% tariff on American cars. They just don't let them in the country.
I put on.
What's the tariff on that? Huh? We sell our cars, but we don't import any cars. We just don't allow the import, period. It's not even that we charge you more for them. We just don't let them get in here.
A large tariff on China cars coming in, and it had a huge impact, a huge positive impact. And Biden only is doing the electric cars. I don't know why that is, because the electric cars, they're going to end up all being made in China, by the way. They're not going to be made here.
He's talking about Tesla.
United Auto Workers are going to take a blow like no unions ever. Between that and people coming in, pouring into our country, unions are getting.
By the way, this is an answer to a question that do the lowering of taxes and the tariffs cause stagflation? Remember the question. And by the way, he didn't pick this at random. He's teeing Trump up to knock it out of the park. This is fucking billionaire T-ball for idiots.
Absolutely decimated. Absolutely.
President Trump.
But the reciprocal act.
Like, can you shut up, please? This is getting bad.
Is, I think, a very important thing when these countries, and I don't mean just China, we have other countries. You could take the European Union.
You can.
Don't want our farm product, and they don't want our cars, and they don't want anything. We have a massive deficit right there. But you could go with many countries, and they essentially do things to us, and we should do things to them. Basically, it should be reciprocal.
One of the things we've talked about, President Trump, on this podcast a lot is the deficit under your administration.
Just bailing out.
We added close to $8 trillion.
Under your administration, we added close to $8 trillion. That would be a third of our national debt, essentially, at the end of his presidency. A third of our national debt came in his 1 4-year fucking term.
Under Biden, it's going to be, paradoxically, about the same number. Seems incredibly unpopular in Washington to cut costs, but that's something we're going to need to do. What's your plan? And it looks like you're going to win a second term here. What's your plan? And in your second term to control spending, can you get it under control? Is there the will in Washington to allow you to do that?
Well, the biggest thing I think is growth, because we can grow our way out.
Oh, this is the other answer. We don't have to pay it down. We'll just expand the economy to absorb the debt. I have no plan for bringing the debt down. Nobody does. That's what he's saying.
As an example, we have more liquid gold under our feet. I use the term. We have more oil. We have more wells. We have more everything than anybody else. When I started, we were number 3. Now we're number 1. We were number 1. He's going to keep it that way until after the election.
Yeah, and then he's going to what? Take us down to number 3 again for why?
They ever won the election? There's no more oil coming out.
Yeah, he wants to choke it up for what? The next Democrat? What are you talking about? How does that make any sense in 4 years?
No more oil. They were going down. Oil is what caused the inflation. You'd have nothing coming out. It would be a disaster. So they were intelligent enough to let the oil wells continue to go. They're not happy about it.
They were intelligent enough to let the oil wells kind of go, but they're not happy about it. If they were just happier about it, we would produce more.
About it. But if this election were won by them, I can tell you right now, we would see oil go through the roof because they would
Why?
really close it up. Already they're taking out of the strategic reserves just for politics because they want to try and keep the prices down as low as possible. But the big thing,
Oh, God, this is just ass. Imagine being one of these rich dickheads listening to this guy, and they know he's talking out of his ass. They know this is bullshit. All four of them are like, oh my fucking God, what a dunce. We just got him to get him to do whatever we tell him to do. And that's their decision-making process right now. These guys are listening to him going, can I convince this guy to pass the bills that I tell him to pass and sign the bills, we want him to sign. That's all that fucking matters because he doesn't know anything about these topics.
we have tremendous growth potential and we have tremendous numbers of dollars that can be saved through efficiency. The way we're spending money.
Tremendous numbers of dollars that can be saved through efficiency. Yes. I don't know anybody else who talks like someone's hitting them with a hammer during the conversation.
Money, hundreds of billions of dollars. What Biden did with the trillions of dollars that he borrowed for COVID. Now, I had a different situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally had a different situation. You put it off while you were doing your fucking campaign or your suck up to Xi Jinping for your trade deal that never went anywhere.
We were getting ready to start paying off debt. We were getting ready.
Yeah, so ready. So ready. Everybody was ready.
Ready to make a lot. We had the greatest economy in history. I had to throw a lot of money at COVID in order that we didn't end up in a 1929 type depression, which we could still end up in now because of what they've done. But I threw a lot of money in, and
So, sorry, you throw money at it, that's necessary. He throws money at it, that's bad. And the stock market's never been higher. Our output of oil has never been higher. Our unemployment is stable and very low, at or below 4% for the longest stretch in history at this point.
ended up not in a depression, and then we ended up with a very strong, I ended up with a higher stock market than it was just previous to COVID coming in, which was pretty much of a miracle according to most. But we had to throw money out there in order to keep our
We had to throw money out there.
country going. We would have ended up, if I didn't do that, we would have ended up in a depression. The problem is when Biden came in, he took trillions and trillions of dollars for COVID. He didn't use it for COVID. He used it for other things.
But you had already allocated that money for its existence, right? He took the money you put out for COVID and he used it for other stuff. So you allocated way more money than you ever needed for COVID, is what you're saying, just to try to goose the economy.
But he took trillions of dollars out, and that caused a lot of the inflation. His energy policies caused inflation.
No, then if you can blame one or the other, but you can't blame both.
And his spending, the unbelievable spending.
Completely believable spending.
That they did caused inflation, tremendous inflation.
No, it didn't. It wasn't even monetary inflation. You can't plug a $21 trillion hole with $6 trillion. Shut the fuck up. It was supply shock.
And it's going to have an impact for a long time to come.
Can you talk about your impoundment authority intention? You mentioned that in the past, that you could go in and reduce the bureaucracy and the spend. I always tell people my position going into the election is less that I'm interested in knowing what the government's going to do for me, and I'm more interested in knowing what the government's going to stop doing that doesn't do any good for anyone. And there seems to be a lot of that. And I'm really curious to...
It would seem like that if you only give a shit about a narrow stream of business.
hear, sir, how you think about using the impoundment authority vested in you as president of the United States to...
Yeah. Yeah, stop right there. Let him explain what the impoundment what the law allows him to do. I just want to hear Trump's explanation or understanding of this.
Reduce some of the bureaucracy.
Don't feed him. Don't feed him any details. Just let him explain what impoundment authority means.
Bureaucracy, wasteful spending, and create accountability And is there a team that you've built around you to help build
Totally. Yeah, the best people. Hashtag the best people.
a specific plan on backing out of some of these issues?
Right. We have a lot of money floating around that should be brought back into the government, should be given back to D.C., to Washington. As you know,
We do.
there's a lot of money given out over the last couple of years, especially over the last. My money was given out
Oh, you mean like Marjorie Taylor Greene's PPP loan? Right. Sure.
to help us with COVID. Then they
Hashtag lock her up, I guess, then, right?
took money and they have no idea what they're even doing with it. That money can be given back, and it should be given back, and things can be done with that money that are positive. But there are many, many things. I'll give you an example. Education. We spend more on education per pupil than any other country. We spend numbers and yet we're terrible at it. We're down at the bottom of the list, and yet we're at the
Oh, wait. Whoa. First of all, that is the United States as a whole. That includes private schools, charter schools, and public schools, the federal and the state, funding together. Okay. On a federal level, as far as percentage of GDP or per capita, we spend way lower than a bunch of other countries do from a federal level, guaranteeing a ubiquitous standard across the entire country. Most of the high schools and most of the quite frankly, most of the public schools in the country and a good portion of the charter schools are propped up by local taxes. So if you have a richer area, it's going to have better schools. If you have a poor area, it's going to have shitty schools. And the federal government over the last couple of decades has done minor attempts to try to spackle that gap shut a little bit. But we don't. This idea that we somehow dump a bunch of money in the laps of every fucking kid in the country and we have bad results. Look to Chicago, the North Shore of Chicago, which has one of the best high schools in the world, High New Trier. Because it has the money to afford such a thing, is on the one hand not responsible for, nor in the same category as any fucking school in Louisiana where they constantly cut funding. We have a breadth of quality because of the lack of uniformity.
top of the list. I am going to, very early in the administration, we're going to send education back to the states. We're going to give them approximately half the number of dollars, and they're going to have so much money that like they've never had before.
Real quick.
Very early in the administration, we're going to send education back to the states. We're going to give them approximately half the number of dollars, and they're going to have so much money that like they've never had before.
Brilliant. I don't even know how you debate that. I mean, nailed it, stuck the landing. A 10 from the Russian judge. Yeah. So you're going to give the states half the money they have now, and they're going to have so much money they won't know what to do with it. Sure. So, but what the fuck?
Because they can spend a fraction of what we're spending right now and have much better school systems. As an example.
Yes, so that'll help. They, already we have the outcomes we do, but they're spending too much money on, I guess, loser kids or something. So if we give them half the money, it'll teach them. It'll give the school districts a lesson in getting their shit together. You know, it'll raise the standards because they'll have to learn the value of a dollar and making it stretch.
Example, you could name many. You go to Nebraska.
Yeah, name them. Yeah.
Nebraska. You go to Iowa.
Nebraska.
You go to many states. We'll do
Nebraska and Iowa. Sure.
a far better job than we're doing right now, and they'll do it for a fraction of the cost. We'll save a tremendous amount of money and have better. Some states, I don't believe, will do a very good job, but
But fuck those kids. You know what I mean? They're not really Americans. You know, are you really an American if you live in a poor state, you know, that isn't friendly to Republicans? So I'll feed some of that money, obviously, under the table. We'll goose their system. We'll kill the Department of Education, but then we'll let, these pork projects, to build schools and stuff so the state can allocate more money for, books and computers and stuff. We'll give them a sideline budget.
They're going to have to learn to. But we have, I would say, most of our states will do a much better job. I think all of them will do better than, you can't do worse than what we're doing right now.
Yes, you can.
But all of them will do better. But some will be.
So all the states will do better if they have less federal funding. That's what it is. It's not federal control. It's not without. They'll do better because Washington is telling them what to do with those dollars. That would be the argument these guys are looking for him to make. He's just saying, yeah, some of them, a lot of them will do better. Some of them won't. But fuck those kids. Fuck them. It's their fault for being born in the wrong state. United States. Get the fuck out of here.
Absolutely, education, a factory in a positive sense. Factories.
Education factories. That's what we need in these schools. We need education factories.
We are going to close up education. We'll have a tiny little group to make sure everyone's teaching.
Sorry, we're going to close up education. He means the Department of Education, but just saying education makes him sound even dumber because he's a fucking moron.
At least English. And
yes, we'll have the English police. But that's it.
Perhaps proper math, et cetera, but
perhaps proper math,
very little,
et cetera, proper math, proper science. Yeah, right. But basically shut off education.
Department of Education goes, and education goes back to the states and where it belongs. I mean, where it absolutely belongs. And you're going to save a lot of money. You can look at interior with that. You can look at environment.
Hold on, once, real quick. One second. Well, I'll just look at this directly. Here you go. Try to get this in here. Hey. Back. There you go. The budget for the United States Department of Education. This is the 2016 budget, but it's let's see. We'll look at 2025. What's put in there? Overall, President Education Budget Summary Background Information. Let's see, summary of the budget request for K through 12. This is all of the Department of Education. Summary of the overall budget request, $82.4 billion in discretionary funding for the Department of Education, including a change in mandatory program, CHIMP, and rescissions. The request reflects a $3.1 billion or 4% increase from the fiscal year of 2024. So they've asked for a 4% raise, a $3 billion added to it, but we spent $82.4 billion on the Department of Education in total for the whole fucking country of the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. And again, the budget of 5 Chick-fil-A's a year, six Chick-fil-A's a year, depending on if they're in big areas, big cities. $82.4 billion. There it is. I don't know. Let's see. Hold on one second.
I don't know that.
Wow, even they don't know it. Hold on one second. Let me jump into. We'll do this one. Hold on. Let's see. Ask me anything. How long would it take to pay off a debt? Whoops. Of let's see. Whatever. 36. Whoops. Back up. 36. I'm going to go 32. That's closer. $1 trillion. whoops, at with $82 billion a year. Whoops. Okay, the principal there. I wanted an answer, co-pilot. You rat. What the heck? Loans payouts. Okay. 32 trillion. This is a 23 thing. Options pay. Let's see. Co-pilot. I asked you. Okay, hold on. Unlike individual borrowers and interest payments last year, they were given that interest payment to it would take solving for the interest rate. Continuing. Still thinking. Last year, if we assume constant interest rate, the annual interest rate of $32 trillion rate, you could solve for the interest rate. 32 times the interest rate is 0.0123, whatever, solving for the... So 1,000 years? What is it? 120 years? 120 years? Something like that? Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, that's right. About 118 years, that's right. 86 billion would not even pay the interest on it, yeah. I'm not using proper math, I know.
Environmental with a lot of that, where the environment can be controlled by the states. Environmental with a lot of that, where you can look at interior with that. You can look at...
it means the Department of the Interior.
Environmental with a lot of that, where the environment can be controlled by the states instead of this big bureaucracy in Washington.
Yeah, the environment can be controlled by the states. Because who gives a shit if... Look, if you are downriver, Eastern Kentucky, if you're downriver from West Virginia, fuck you if your people start dying of cancer.
In D.C., I mean, what do you do when China's burning all the coal and they're sending the ashes over the United States? Because that's what happens. Takes
no, that's not what happens. It doesn't send the ashes over the United States. That's not at all how it works. You fucking chimp.
3.5 days and it blows over the United States. In the meantime, we're keeping things good. We produce...
Meanwhile, we're keeping things good. So what we're supposed to do is poison our own water before they get a chance to?
Clean coal. We're going to produce clean energy. But we have to get back to energy. We're spending trillions of dollars on artificial, weak energy that's not going to fire up our plants. Our plants have to be fired up. We have a
yeah, they got to be fired up and ready to go.
Phenomena coming up right now, and I was talking about it the other day to David, and that's AI, little things simple to...
Oh, fuck me. I was about to bail out on this, and then he had to enter the arena. For those of you that don't know, I'm named after a computer, and I've lived all my life with a chip on my shoulder about how, AI is going to kill everybody, and I'm like, no, it isn't. This is weak energy. What he means is wind and solar, and this is an asshole. By the way, if I don't, there's got to be a promotion, and I don't know why solar and wind companies haven't done this, but renewables equal off the grid. If your homestead, whatever it is powered entirely with renewables, you're off the grid. I would think that, especially Republicans and these sovereign citizen adjacent libertarian motherfuckers that hang around all these places, around the RNC and stuff, you would think that they would go, oh shit, man, as soon as we can get electric cars, man, and I can generate my own energy, man, if they have the range of a car, fuck that. That's my goal too. I would love to have a house that's it doesn't need the grid at all.
Little simple letters, but it's big. And
little simple letters, but it's big.
I realized the other day, more than any time when we were at David's house and talking to a lot of geniuses from Silicon Valley and other places.
Yeah, because not all the geniuses are in Silicon Valley. Some of them are in, Iowa diners wearing suits that look like they're made out of weird old brick.
They need electricity at levels that nobody's ever experienced before.
Yes, they have. They need about the same that crypto needed. It's a very heavy draw, but even then, it's unlike crypto. AI could come up with ways to make itself more efficient over time. The original divinement of these large language models take a lot of energy, but once they're taught, they can be they can be put on a simple laptop. Some of them can fit in a system with just a few gigabytes. This is just, and we talk about this all the time. This is fucking dumb.
Have to be successful, to be a leader in AI. The amount of electricity that is like double what we have right now and even triple what we have right now.
No. If we have giant AIs that are constantly learning, running everything in the whole fucking country, maybe in a couple hundred years, but that's based on the idea that we don't get more efficient in our energy usage. But basically, these guys are all trying to sell them on nuclear. For the record, that's where this is coming from. And to some degree, they're not wrong. Nuclear is the way to go. I'm a big fan of thorium reactors. There's also ways to there's no reason why at like Yucca Mountain, why we didn't just build a fucking reactor there instead of just using it as a dumping site, right? Because then there would be jobs and function to that place instead of it just being a nuclear dumpster fire. They are.
It's incredible how.
Yeah, say incredible again. Say it's just huge and wow.
Much they need to be the leader, and we're going to have to be able to do that. And a windmill turning with its blade, knocking out the birds and everything else, is not going to be able to make us competitive. You'll have China.
What about nuclear, Mr. President? Yeah.
What I tell you.
So let me just give you a statistic on this. China's building 150
Nuclear's okay.
nuclear reactors, and they're only spending about $2,500 a kilowatt. In the U.S., we're not building any, and our cost to build them is about $10,000 a kilowatt. And China's about to build as much capacity as 20% of the total U.S. production in nuclear. We clearly have a problem here in nuclear.
We do, and
hold on. A country that is allegedly with 1.4 billion people is building 20% of the capacity of the United States. What is that? 1.5 reactors?
Nuclear is okay with me. And what we're doing is, if you look at Alabama, you look at a couple of states where they built
Yeah, the places where they have cancer clusters already, so no one will notice.
These plants, and they had cost overruns that are nobody's ever seen anything like it, where they're costing $25 billion to build a plant. There were a couple of them built in the South. I won't mention the places, but you know the places, and they came.
You mean were those Democrat-run states?
Out at numbers that I think the most expensive things ever built in our country, and the inspectors would go in. They say those walls aren't thick enough. Knock them down and build another wall. And the environmental people were brutal. In France and in other places where they do have a lot of nuclear, they build small plants all the same, and if they need double the amount, they'll build 2 of them. As opposed to the nonsense that we've done where we build these massive plants and they never get
micronuclear is what he's talking about, which is the direction it's supposed to go anyways. Yeah.
Get built, and they have cost overruns of 300, 400, 500%. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. No, I'm okay with nuclear, but you have to do it in a way that makes sense. And they have nuclear applications today that can be built and can be built reasonably inexpensively. But nuclear certainly is very strong power.
Can I shift the conversation?
Yeah, I agree. Finally, something we can all agree on. Nuclear is very strong power. Listen, think about that for a second. Nuclear is very strong power. If Biden said that, Hannity would play it on a fucking loop.
Conversation of foreign policy just for a minute, just to make sure we get time.
Yeah. Get off this topic.
To talk about foreign policy. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Mr. President, I've really appreciated your comments saying that you want to bring a peace deal to the war in Ukraine so that people stop dying. And I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. But I've seen that Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is talking about actually putting NATO troops or French troops in Ukraine.
Can you tell that David Sachs has a lot of investments in Russia and a lot of money that was flowing to a lot of his projects from Russia and is now ass hurt that that money has been largely cut off by sanctions? Can you tell?
As potentially a next step, and that could be a tripwire for more NATO troops coming in. Can you guarantee that no matter what, you're not going to put American boots on the ground in Ukraine? Is that something you can say definitively
I
now?
would guarantee it. I wouldn't do it. No, it's different for France. You know, they're neighbors more or less. We have an ocean in between. It's different for Germany,
Right. That's how the Nazis started.
although Germany is much less involved than they should be, and other countries. But, you know, we have a big ocean in between. One of the things.
Really? Which one would that be? Which ocean is it? Atlantic or Pacific? I'm just curious to know if you have it on the ready, if you got it on the tip of your tongue. Just which one? Which ocean is between us and there? Just curious.
I think is so unfair, David. I think it's terrible, is that we're at least $100 billion more than Europe, meaning Europe as a whole, put together. And
Yeah, you just realize he was talking with these guys about a $32 trillion deficit. And he's pissing and moaning about $100 billion that Ukraine will pay back if they survive, if they win, if they are a country on their own again one day. The same way England did with our Lend-Lease that we did with them during World War II.
economies are similar size, believe it or not. That put together and us is about a very similar economy.
No, it's not.
Size. But it's much more important for them. It's important for everyone. You have to have, look, this would have never happened if I were.
All right, that's the fallback. He almost got to the point of like, Russia shouldn't have done this. And he can't say Russia shouldn't have done this because he'll be fucked. His money will dry up. So he's got to say this never would have happened. They would have done me a solid.
President. It would have never, Putin would have never.
All right, we're in the same bullshit. Anyways, chat room, I'm running out of time, and I've got to actually, I got to head to the airport tonight because tomorrow is the Denver Sexy Liberal comedy show, and I will be flying to Denver tonight, this very night, to get there so I can do radio in the morning as we do, and I adore you guys. I will be, I don't know if there's still tickets available to Beetlejuice for the matinee, but I certainly will check. I think it might fall right in the middle of my, my sound check and, of course, my personal groping session that I do with myself every day. So I don't even need to go see Beetlejuice to get it, get my crank yanked, which is, I think, the thing in Colorado these days. It's all the rage. But tomorrow night, Sexy Liberal, for those that are in Denver, please come down if you're even in, around the drive and stay overnight and come see Nerd Halen. The next night, Sunday night at HQ, Nerd Halen is performing in Denver. This is our first double date. And wish me luck because I've got Sexy Liberal Saturday night, Nerd Halen Sunday night, and then Tuesday we've got the Ultimate Jam Night Pride. I wouldn't call it Pride Fest, but it's closer to that. But we're doing a Pride-themed Ultimate Jam Night, and then Wednesday I've got our regular comedy show that I do for the Patreon folks. And then I'm still going to be doing regular shows. So my speaking voice and my singing voice are going to be put through the fucking ringer. So just understand if after the Flapper show on Wednesday, if I don't seem like I want to talk, don't hold it against me. Although I probably will. Whispering is bad, William. William says just whisper. Whispering is bad when your voice is messed up. Silence is the only thing. If you whisper, it just blows dry air past your vocal cords. It's actually worse than speaking normally. Yes, there will be a radio show tomorrow. Absolutely. And yes, everybody read your commandments. Both of them. The ones that, Trump says he would break, but hasn't yet. Flappers is in Burbank if you're in the LA area. And anyways, I love you guys. I will see you later. It's a tribute to Pride. We have to hold it against you. Oh, I see. Yes. And I will be doing a Cher song. So it's Pride. Come on. I mean, I'm also doing a Judas Priest song and a Queen song. And one other, we'll see. But I'm also doing, I talked them into letting me do a Cher song. Yeah. So there you go. Just say it, because, there's a great Cher joke in Queer as Folk that Michael tells when he's hanging out with Tracy and all them. And so I couldn't not. You know what I mean? And I will post it when we go when either the sound check version or the actual recorded version, depending. I know Ginger will probably be there, and she's been filming all of them, so you'll get to see it. I don't want to say which one. Yeah. Because it'll be a surprise for the people who are coming. It's gonna be That's just saying. It's gonna be a thing, you know. I'm kidding. You guys want to know? It's I'm kidding. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. See you tomorrow morning for House Parks Radio program Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, share it out, do all those things. See you soon. Midas Touch right now. If you're on Twitch, I'll send you over there.